Jenny Morris, she has to be loved. 5 minutes past 8, you listen to 101.5, Mountain Bay's own radio station. It's 8 o'clock. It means one thing. It's SportsFeva time. Peter Swampy Marsh, welcome. You abandoned me last week in my hour of need, but State of Origin special, but welcome back.
Yeah, big apologies for last week, Matty. I did disappear.
No,
It's one of
that's
my
all
favourite
right.
shows of the year, the Origin
That's all
special.
right. We
too.
changed. Wednesdays aren't as good for you, so it was still a great show, and I know you listen and love the show.
I did a very good show, but look, very glad to be back in the seat, Matty. And look, if it was a New South Wales conspiracy. If we had 2 home games, I definitely would have been here for the second
No,
one.
fair enough, Swampy. It was one of our most popular shows. We had a lot of calls. I'm true. A lot of people rang in loving the show last week, so maybe...
Look, there's a reason that the Origin special is always my favourite.
Yes, so, but you might be on a bit of shaky ground there, Swampy.
Who's in to replace me?
I don't know. Maybe the big Andre could return.
Could return.
Going
Look,
back.
Just quietly, if he is listening in, he's a bit of a man of leisure at the moment. He is on holiday, so he might be hanging over my shoulder. Huh?
I'd watch out. Or what about Jacob Grams? Big fan of the show, Jacob Grams.
Big fan of the show.
Loves the show.
And did jump into my shoes recently.
Yep.
Sports
So,
reporter,
Jacob, if you're listening, mate, give me a call. Send me a
I need
text
to.
or a tweet or something along. We may be doing interviews.
I may need to look out, but look, it was Origin Day, Matty, and what a day it was, what a game it was, what a result it was, an utterly dominant performance by the Maroons.
Speaking of our good correspondent, Warwick Nicholson, the man we call Warwick flew up for the game on NRL. He's part of the official party. He was there tweeting for the actual NRL. So he was there on the day tweeting, met up with Woz for a beer. It was his actual birthday. He's a proud New South Welshman. Jeez, I was happy at the end of the game. He was a shattered man, because he come on here all cocky after game one, didn't he? He was this is our chance. And look, it's not over yet, but I'd just like to put those New South Welshmen back in their place.
And conspicuously absent from the running sheet I see this morning was too, huh?
I couldn't have done it, so he's still a shattered man. I think he's put it down as the worst birthday ever, and I shouted him a hot dog before the game, and that's ended up his highlight. That was the best part of his birthday, the hot dog. So I thought, I can't bring him on and rub it in. So
he hasn't lost a series yet. It was just one game.
Yeah, I know, but he did lose a game on his birthday. That hurts.
It does hurt. It's not quite a grand final on your birthday.
No.
Is that one of the lines in that Alanis Morissette song?
Yeah, isn't it ironic? The song about irony that isn't ironic, yeah. So that'd probably get a run if we did another version of it, losing an Origin game on your birthday.
How did you see the performance from Queensland, though, Matty?
Oh, well, you could see that Queensland obviously had trained more than 3 times this time. Like, they played as a team.
I've heard opposite ends of the scale here. I've heard they trained not enough before game one, and I've heard they trained too much before game one. What's
I've heard there was 3 proper training sessions before game one. Tracer, that's a good mail.
Good mail?
Yep.
And wasn't anywhere near enough what they needed to be prepared for.
No, and you could see that in game one. Yeah, and Thurston wasn't right. Their lines and their timing was all out of action. Fair enough, the teams had played together, that core of the team's been together for most of the dynasty, but you could tell they hadn't had that decent run. They'd trained more than 3 times, but the full squad, Thurston, Boyd, everyone together, 3 times. 2.5.
And you've shortened it.
There was 2.5.
And I suppose looking forward now for Queensland, what did you make of the inclusions of Papali and Cherry Evans? Do you stick with them for game 3?
I was really happy with Cherry Evans coming into the side. I still think we're a little bit... I know it worked out for us. I'd still like another prop there. And look, I don't know the latest on Benny Tio's injury. Maybe there's an option for Hannett to come in and replace Tio. Unless there's injuries, I think they'll stick with that core side that we've seen in game 2. I really liked Cherry Evans, though, as I said. He just brings something different than what we had on the bench, those full-back rowers. Papali, look, he's good. He's a young player and he's worth blooding. But I just thought we had too many back rowers still. So, yeah, if we can find room for a prop, I think we're doing good things in game 3.
And unfortunate news with Martin Kennedy there, who was the 18th man, is ruled out for the next 3 or 4 months. So you would have thought he would have been a pretty big shot to come in there should Tio be out injured.
Yeah. So you imagine, but Hannett back now, and he's had another injury problem. So maybe there's not room for him. So I'm not sure who comes in. Maybe the big show, Josh Maguire, is a bolter as well now. So I don't know. So
for New South Wales, I've got plenty of questions to be answered. Does Hayne come back into the side straight away? Do you keep Merritt there?
That's their biggest. He's their best player, and that's who they really missed. He's him from fullback. He's got to play fullback for them to be any chance. Dugan was really good, but he's no Hayne. Hayne is there, as much as I hate the term, he is their X factor. And, as a Queenslander, I love seeing him not play Origin.
And Dugan was one of the better, if not the best player of the night for New South Wales. I thought he was really one of the few players that really gave Queensland any trouble at all. Where does he fit into this side, though, if Hayne slots in the fullback?
Hayne plays fullback, Dugan wing. Yeah. Yeah, no doubt, and probably switch between the night. Look, I wouldn't be surprised they even named Hayne on the wing and Dugan fullback, but that swapped throughout the game. But Hayne at fullback, we've seen he just got them on a roll all game in game one, and they missed that in game two. Queensland were great; they came ready to play, and it's so important to strike early in Origin, and we've seen that in both games. The teams that scored within the first couple of minutes were going to win the game.
It was a completely different start, first 10 minutes of that game, wasn't it? Queensland were up, they were firing, they got the rub of the green early as well, and that was probably brought on by being up and being ready to play, and they really took advantage when things were going their way early on the back of penalties and took their opportunities, and it completely killed New South Wales in that first 20 minutes.
Yeah, when you're playing with confidence and upbeat, the rub of the green goes your way. So that's, and we've spoken about that with the Dolphins previously. So, look, confident going into game three, barring any major injuries. So it should be a crackerjack game three down there in Sydney.
It was a really tight one in the first game, a bit of a blowout in the second. How do you see the third one unfolding?
It'll be
tight.
tight. Yeah, it'll be tight. Only if Queensland can strike a couple of tries early, they probably can blow it away. I just think that'll shatter New South Wales. But New South Wales, they'll come ready to play. Hayne, if he is definitely back, he'll make a difference.
Of course, the big question mark hanging over for New South Wales is the fitness of Gallen with that foot injury. Certainly, there's no certainty to play this game at all. I think 50-50 is the best summation of his chances to play that I've heard.
Yeah. And look, he'll be a loss, but not as much as a loss as someone like a Jared Hayne, who I think they can bring someone in to do a very similar job to Gallen. I think Hayne is the player that they're missing. I don't particularly like him as a player, but he's very good for New South Wales. So will be interesting, but a terrific effort by all the Queensland. There wasn't a Queenslander that would have been disappointed with his effort the other night. So
not at all. Now, is was going to be right to come back on in a couple of weeks' time?
Well, I don't know.
Is he going to be recovered, or is he still just sitting there crying
Has
over
he
that
lost
hot
his,
dog?
Chris Gary did a fantastic job for us doing that
Was
analyst role. Was gone.
Oh dear.
If he keeps coming with that New South Wales thing and little cheap shots about the Broncos, it's cheaper to call Chris. He lives in Queensland. I don't know.
Oh dear,
Was is on the ropes, maybe.
Maybe I can push a little bit of pressure towards Was and get the pressure off myself.
Yeah, well, that's run the decoy swamp. That might be your option. And well, let's talk some Dolphins news. And now, let's not hide away from the fact another man under a bit of pressure is Dolphins coach John Dixon.
Yeah, it's a tough spot that the Dolphins and John Dixon find themselves in at the moment. I think you and I have said it plenty of times, Matty, is that they're playing wonderful halves of football, but just can't put together a full 80 minutes, and it's really, really costing them at the moment. And certainly sounds like it cost them. I haven't seen the game myself. I caught the highlights, but it looked like it cost them again against East on the weekend. And look, the Dolphins are very, very quickly running out of chances to make a final series here.
And pretty much it comes down, must win all their remaining games. They probably can drop one, but then you're getting into the mathematics of things. So Destiny's pretty much still in their own hands. If they win them all, they'll sneak into those finals. But if they drop one, you've got to start watching a game, hoping a team loses by X amount of points and another team, so you don't want to get into that situation. So this is very much the last chance. And what a way to start a revival by, playing Wynnum, the Herald Cup. There's so much history between a Wynnum and and Dolphins game at Dolphin Oval, look, maybe a fairy tale is about to be written.
See, I thought that had to come a couple of weeks ago against the Pride. That was a chance for the Dolphins they had enough time to pick up some steam, to topple the number one team on the ladder, get their first win over the Pride at home, their second win ever. And it just didn't arrive. And I was really optimistic heading into that game against the Pride. I thought they're a big chance here, and they got absolutely blown off the park in the first half. By full credit to an exceptional Pride team who just took every opportunity that was handed to them. But I think that there could be a bit of strife against Wynnum at the weekend. Who obviously not playing quite to the level they were last year, the Seagulls, but are one of the top teams this year, and will. You can bet your bottom dollar will take every opportunity to relish a win and probably put to the sword a bit of a wounded Dolphins team at the moment. They won't be giving any sympathy at all.
Yeah, no, it certainly will be interesting, and like we said, John Dixon will be. You've got to say his job's on the line. Big things were expected of the Dolphins this year. He had an amazing year last year, just falling one shy, record-breaking year in so many ways. Petro comes into the squad. There was talks, particularly after that first game, Swampy, where we dusted Wynnum. There were talks, not from SportsFeva, but there were talks of undefeated seasons from the Dolphins. They just looked so sharp.
I mean, and to be honest, that buffer from that first game, I think Wynnum need to defeat the Dolphins by 29 points or more to actually claim the Herald Cup, and that actually might see the Herald Cup stay with the Finns. It looks like just the longest time ago since that first game, Eddie, doesn't it? They were a completely different side, and must be said, losing both Zach Strasser and Luke Capewell, at various times or for the entire season has been a pretty big blow there for the Finns. But geez, that was a fantastic side that started that season so well and just looked like they were going on to a finals appearance looked assured, and a grand final appearance didn't look too far off in round one there. But how things can change.
Exactly, but a bad season can always be somewhat salvaged if we can win the Herald Cup. If we can beat Wynnum, you can always, there's something to hold on to even in a bad season. And on the top, without making excuses, like we said, Capewell's gone to Penrith, Strasser gone with a collarbone. Troy Geese has had injury concerns. Jake Marquito has broken his leg, I think. So, yeah, there's been injury concerns all throughout the season, but still a great squad there. So probably need to fire better than they have. But a big congratulations to a debutant on the weekend. We're big fans of him at Show. He's a local. He's the new Wamburan wonder. He's taken over the mantle from Troy Lindsay. Tommy Opacek making his debut for the Dolphins off the bench on the weekend. So well done to Tommy. That's a SportsFeva stamp.
And a wonderful young man, by all reports and by all people that I've spoken to about young Tom. He's got his head in the right place and could go on to some very big things if he keeps impressing there at the Finns. So wonderful to see him make his debut, and of course also the debut of Cameron Cullen there for the Finns, number 6.
Yeah, so some assistance there from the Broncos. Of course, Cullen in that under-20 system, and with Capewell being part of that Broncos, the Broncos kind of owed Redcliffe a player there, so that's a great experience for Cameron Cullen. He's a real talent, and I think leading around the Queensland Cup side will do wonders for his development. And from all reports, he looked sharp. He made a lot of breaks on the weekend. They just fell down at the end, but he's going to cause some headaches for defences for the rest of the year. I like the look of him. And
a really good squad that he's got to come in and really sort of, I suppose, take charge of leading around the park there. That back line is still mostly intact there for the Dolphins. I mean, you've still got the likes of Joe Bonds and Liam Georgetown lurking in back play there. Also Delroy Berryman. So there's some wonderful players that Cameron Cullen can take advantage of in that back line. And still, let's not forget, Petro Civoniceva is still just making, I think he's just about got the Peter Elise medal wrapped up already. An outstanding player week in, week out, and always, even in the games where it looks gone, always finds the time to lift and seems to inspire those boys, Matty. So hopefully Petro can keep doing that, and the boys can respond off that on the weekend to help them get them over Wynnum.
The wonderful thing with Petro too, we know he's done some really good off-field work this year, but after the game we see it every time at Dolphin Oval, and every time wherever away supporters, it doesn't matter. The line for Big Petro's autograph from the kids, isn't it great to see? It's something that it's just so good for the game to see the line 10, 20, 30 deep to get Petro's autograph after a game.
Absolutely, and this is I think the last home game was against the Pride. The Dolphins had been dusted pretty comprehensively. That the Sting had gone out of the game with about 20 minutes to go, and the Pride were on top, and Petro was still on that field signing autographs from locals and from kids wearing Northern Pride t-shirts as well, long after the game had finished and everyone else had gone off the field to the shed. So it's just such a massive asset for the Intrust Super Cup, for rugby league, and for the Dolphins in the local area.
Well, we're only 3 actual home games left at Dolphin Oval, so get along this Sunday if you can, because there's only 2 more after this. I think 1 in late July and 1 in late August. So, taking into account the game they take into Roma. So, if you're in the Moreton Bay region, this is going to be one of your last chances. Petro hasn't officially said it's his last year. You'd 99% think it is his last year. I think he's probably got another year in him, but I'd say he'll pull the pin at the end of this year. So, so it'd be interesting. Make sure you get along though. But that's going to be a huge day of footy there at Dolphin Oval on Sunday. Playing Wynnum in all 3 games. 11:30 is the Colts. 1:15 is the Fogs, and then 3 p.m. for the main game, the Herald Cup. That should be a cracker. Jack, you'll be there, Swampy?
Absolutely, we'll be there. And look, unfortunately, one person who won't be there, of course, we would have normally had him on the show this morning to pump us up and get us fired up, is good friend Sir Rupert McCall.
He's I've had about 5 texts. Where's Rupert this morning from loyal listeners? Where is Rupert? Where is Rupert? How come Rupert is not on the show?
He's gallivanting off in New York City, we're told.
With Peter Robinson, Dolphins legend and current Colts assistant coach Peter Robinson in New York.
We tried to get him on, and I'm sure he's listening in New York. I'm sure he's tuning in online on the live stream.
He said he would be.
But unfortunately, that is why no Sir Rupert this morning.
Rupert.
And look, we've done our best to try and get everyone fired up. But
it's nothing like Rupert.
It's not the same, is it, Matty?
It's only 20 past 6 in New York, so he'd be listening for sure in the live stream in a bar somewhere in New York. Him and Robbo
doing the Finns proud at the bar.
Yeah, they'd be loving it. Yeah, having a fire engine.
And he'll be there in spirit on the weekend.
Absolutely.
As well.
Yep. No, he will. We'll have a sarsaparilla snow cone for him. That's for sure. So sure to be a big weekend out there at Dolphin Oval. Really, the last, very, very last swamp throw of the dice for the Finns in 2013.
And I think that's what will make this game so interesting, Matty, is that the chance for them to really get up with that fairy tale story perhaps was against the Pride, but this is desperate stakes now. This is all on the line. If a loss comes here, it's in all sorts of trouble. And look, there'll be a wonderful crowd there as well, so definitely get along and watch the game.
Sounds good. 29 minutes past 8 here on 101.5, and time now to talk to a good friend of the show. We've had him on a couple of times before, Swamp. We're talking to Terry Kirkham, the coach of the Moreton Bay United Jets. Morning, Terry.
G'day, how are you?
Yeah, we're really good in here this morning, Terry, and look, some wonderful news floating out from the Jets at the moment, mate, both on the field and off the field. We might start off at the moment, and fantastic news to see one of the real emerging talents of the club, Josh South, boarded a plane yesterday to head off to New Zealand to do a trial with the Wellington Phoenix, which is wonderful news.
No, it is. It's brilliant, and it's brilliant news for the region as well. It just goes to show you that the players that might not get a shot here with the Brisbane Roar, have also too can get a shot, across the waters, and also too in different parts of Australia. So. No, look, obviously we're very pleased, and I'm certainly very pleased for Josh. I've had a fair bit to do with him over the last 5 years, and hopefully you get to week trial with the first team there, and hopefully things go right and he picks up a professional contract.
Yeah, of course. You've had a fair bit to do with Josh, both at the Power, Terry, and of course recruited him to the Jets this season. What is it about young Josh that really stands out as a potential A-League player in your mind?
Oh, look, he's first things first, his attitude's first class, and that's the big thing. But look, I saw him as a young player who's playing for North Pine and approached him to come to Peninsula, and he's just one of these kids that can play multiple positions. He's very quick. He's an attacking player as well, and defensively, he doesn't get beaten in a lot of one-on-ones, and you put a lot of those attributes together, and you can build a player, and And look, as I said, he's very dedicated and he's worked very hard and he deserves a shot.
And you've had to play young Josh in quite a number of positions this season, with injuries dictating a lot of your selections with the Jets. It seems like he's handled that pressure of being played all around the park really well.
Yeah, and that's spot on, and that's a conversation that I had to have with him about 6 weeks ago, because he was trying to make his mark as a right fullback, and next thing he's playing as a striker, or he's playing at left back and an attacking midfielder. But as I when I sat him down and said that, mate, that just shows how much that I believe in your ability. And if you can adapt to all these positions and and do a job for me, no matter what role I give you, that's going to further advance you in your career. So, he's been brilliant, and and as I said, the rewards are there for him at the moment.
And not the only good news off the field out of the Jets either, Terry, with Matt Capello, Mitch Schumack and Christian Smith all getting a run with the Brisbane Roar youth side in the last couple of weeks, or in the upcoming weeks as well, which is just wonderful for those young players.
Oh, it is. That's right. Look, we had identified them and sent an email to the Brisbane Roar, and all the coaching staff in the Roar were down a couple of weeks ago watching us play the Sunshine Coast Fire, and we won 2-0 there. And out of that game, a couple of the boys have been called up, and they've also now requested to see 2 or 3 of our under-16s who are sitting on top of the table at the moment in the NPL. So, look, we're certainly getting a lot of coverage, and the success this year is certainly, eye-catching to Football Queensland and a number of scouts and clubs as well.
Terry, it must be pleasing, as from the Jets' perspective, as well as from Football Queensland's perspective, that the NPL, I mean, this is really what this competition was set up to deliver. It was the next step down from the A-League, and the idea was that A-League clubs were supposed to be looking at NPL clubs for potential youth talent, much like they do with the Queenslander and New South Wales Cups in the Rugby League. And it's, I mean, certainly from a fan's perspective, for myself, it's wonderful to see that competition delivering already on that really key goal that it seemed to set out at its institution. Does that bring you as much joy just to see the NPL really delivering, on one of its core promises there?
Oh, for sure. And that's once it was explained to me 2 years ago from, the top of the game in the country, I just knew that this was going to be a pathway. You've got to remember too now that I just don't get phone calls from here. I'm actually speaking with clubs in Melbourne and various people around the country, because our games are all on TV every week now on the internet, on Football Queensland TV. So every week there's a highlights package and a main game of all the NPL games. So it's great to go to Townsville 2 weeks ago and then have that up on the internet TV, within 2 or 3 days, and then everyone from our club can actually see, what's happening in the game. But scouts and the Associated Football Queensland and your sponsors and all these things now can keep in touch with the way media is about the game at this level. So, there's a lot of big positives, and hopefully, through Moreton Bay Jets and through this region, we can produce another couple of good players. And just got to look at the success of Robbie Cruz coming from the north side of Brisbane. He's just been an eye opener for all the kids, and hopefully this system can produce more players like that.
That pathway is so important, and really the man of the moment, Robbie Cruz, playing with the Socceroos, doing some wonderful stuff there. Turning to on the field, Terry, and the Jets, considering some of the hurdles that the club's faced in terms of injuries and some player departures as well, doing pretty well to be sitting at 6th on the NPL ladder, 7 wins and 5 losses under the belts at the moment. Looking pretty good in terms of finals?
Oh, yes and no. Look, I'd like to say that we are. And certainly a week ago, we were only 1 game out of the top 4. But, look, to be honest with you, if we've just played Redlands, who are 3rd, and we've lost there, and we only lost there due to set pieces, and we're winning at half time, and we've got some simple set pieces, and we've now got Brisbane Strikers, Brisbane City on Friday night, and then you've got Olympics. So we've got really the top 4 clubs all within the next 2 or 3 weeks, and that'll set us up on whether we're going to be in the top 4 or not. But look, certainly not projecting to be there. I think that our aim is to try and sort of finish in the top 6, and we've achieved that as it's to the halfway mark. And we haven't signed a lot of players to come in to cover injuries. We've been bringing the kids up. We've played 30 we've now played 33 players through the first team from 17 years of age into the first team, and we'll continue to do that the rest of the season to give the boys, prove themselves to pick up a contract next year, because to be honest with you, I'm now looking at next year already. I'm going to Caboolture Budrum on Saturday night, 6 o'clock down at Caboolture, and I'm very close with Nathan Walker, the coach of Caboolture, and a number of the boys there, and there's some players in that game that I want to have a look at, and then I'm looking at BPL games as well, and looking for kids from 18 to 22 for next season. So, there's a number of things that are sort of happening now that we're preparing really for next year, and the next 6 to 8 weeks for us will be to play as many of the kids that are at Moreton Bay as we can, and results aren't the major focus.
And I suppose almost a blessing in disguise, both the injuries and the departures that you've had to deal with, in that some of those younger players who may not have been perhaps on the radar until next year have been getting some pretty valuable game time out there on the pitch, and are probably going to be better players for it come round 1 2014.
Oh, definitely, and this is the whole thing about what we've produced this year that's not really out in the marketplace because it doesn't get discussed, but I don't know too many teams that would probably roll through a roster of 30-odd players through the first team, and we've still been able to pick up results. And we've produced a lot of kids this year that last year were playing under-18s Division 2 football, or Division 1 reserve team, or Division 2 reserve team football. On Saturday night we played a young boy that last year played for Narangba, and in Division 2, and on Saturday night he's played against Redlands and came on the ground and got 25 minutes there, coming through our under-20 system. So there's a lot of things to do if you want to look at a proactive development club, and I've got a 3 to 5 year plan, and within that plan it's certainly not to win it within the first couple of years, it's to play as many young players as we can to try and find the right mix and take a young group through the next 5 year period. So that's the focus that we have.
Terry, the NPL, of course, continues on Friday night for the Jets against Brisbane City, round 16 at Spencer Park at 8:30. Always wonderful to have you on the show, mate, and we wish the Jets the best of luck for the rest of the season, and definitely send all the best from SportsFeva to those young boys trialling with the Phoenix and the Roar as well. Thanks so much for your time this morning, Terry.
Matty, thank you very much, and once again, thanks for supporting us. Cheers.
Cheers, Terry.
Terry Kirkham, their coach of Moreton Bay United Jets, and it's been a tremendous initiative this year, hasn't it?
Well, I mean, that was delivering on, or having players being picked and looked at by A-League teams was the core function, really, of this National Premier League when it was set up earlier or late last year and early this year, Matty, in that the football really wanted a competition and a pathway program like the Queensland Cup, where scouts, players could come out and look at these teams and know that they're getting trained in a professional environment, that they can step up to the next level and really fit in there. And it's wonderful to see that competition, and especially our local team in that competition in the Jets, delivering already on that core, I suppose, goal of the National Premier League, and it's to take players who may have been playing in suburban competitions, give them an elite chance, and then give them a pathway into the A-League and even perhaps beyond. When players and other, I suppose that's the benefit of football being the world game that it is that there's so many opportunities outside of a domestic competition for players. So great to see young Josh South and those 3 other boys training with the Brisbane Royal Youth squad getting a shot.
A big stamp.
Big stamp.
SportsFeva stamp to that whole competition. And the Moreton Bay United Jets. It's a bang on 20 to 9 here on 101.5. 19 minutes to 9 here on SportsFeva on radio station 101.5 with Matthew and Swampy. Time now to talk some netball, some Queensland Firebirds, and joining us online, she's our virtual third host, Swampy. We've had her on, comes in, talks up the Firebirds. Joining us on the line, Jacinta Messer, who was in a meeting. She said, I've got to go and be on SportsFeva, and it's a big good morning to Jacinta. How are you today?
I'm good, how are you?
Yeah, very good. You're all okay? You're out of the meeting now? All under control?
Yeah, I was just going to say, does it mean I get paid now if I'm the third host?
Yeah, well, you get. Yeah, we'll give you something. Yeah, we'll send you an autographed photo of Peter and myself. So.
I'll frame it. Look.
Yeah, exactly right. Now, Jacinta, since we last spoke, I guess the week after we last spoke, the couple of days, things didn't go quite as planned as we would have liked against the Thunderbirds, and then it's like the universe kind of turned on the Firebirds. Results went the wrong way and everything. Where we thought we might have been second, we ended up in 4th place.
Yeah, that was definitely a bit of a shock weekend. I think losing to the Thunderbirds was, such a disappointing outcome, and then to sit back and watch those other games unfold the way they did, and we found ourselves pushed very quickly from 2nd place to 4th place, which isn't, exactly where you want to be coming into finals, but that's the way the cookie crumbles, and that's elite sport, isn't it?
Yeah, that's exactly right. But then we've got the job done. Had to take on never an easy task playing Waikato. Tough game, but got the job done. Take us through that game.
Yeah, well, look, as you say, it's never an easy task going over to New Zealand. It's over to Hamilton. It's a 3-hour plane ride, then a 2-hour bus ride. So, and then once you get there, the crowd is pretty aggressive, and they were all against us, as you can imagine. So, look, they came out firing, but we were just, we just pulled it together on the day, and a really great outcome, and just so proud of, I guess, the maturity that quite a young side played with over there in New Zealand.
Jacinta, it probably speaks a lot to the mental strength of the side to be able to pull yourselves up from probably a really tight loss there against the Thunderbirds, only two goals in it, then everything go against you otherwise to really pick yourselves back up by your bootstraps and get a 3-goal win there against Waikato. How's the mental fortitude of this team? I imagine it must be right up there to be turning results around like that.
Yeah, look, I think that we are such a young team, and it says so much about the playing group that we've got. We are a team though that seems to do quite well when faced with adversity, and I think Garty says in our team meetings, look, we like to do things the tough way, and I think that we saw that, and we got the outcome. So I'm really just impressed with, like I said, the maturity that everybody's displayed, and also the mental toughness.
It all goes on the line this Sunday. You take on the Vixens, who were, I guess, comprehensively beaten in the end by that Thunderbirds team, who are on quite the roll at the moment. So you now go to the State Netball and Hockey Centre on Sunday afternoon, 12:15 to take on the Vixens. How do you beat the Vixens, Jacinta?
Look, I think it's going to come down to just playing a possession game, and also a lot of desperation. The Vixens are coming off a loss against the Adelaide Thunderbirds, as you say, and the Adelaide Thunderbirds in the last couple of minutes of that game actually brought on their whole bench, which is pretty much unheard of in, netball full stop, at netball finals. That's pretty much unheard of. So they're going to have, a real axe to grind with us, and they'll definitely be after our scalps. So I think that for us, it's just going to be about possession and desperation, and keeping our cool when, things might not go our way, because you have to expect it in Melbourne.
Of course, things haven't been going your way really at all. You're again faced with more travel. Is the travel that you had to face last week and again facing this week, is that playing a part in any of the preparations at all? Is it a bit of a distraction from your training in the lead up to the game, or is it something that everyone kind of takes on board and uses it to help drive themselves come to game day?
Yeah, look, I think that, like you say, we're a team that, does well against adversity, and being on the road, sometimes I actually think that it's probably better for our preparation, because it is so much more structured than when we're at home and all off doing our own things. So it is quite nice coming together and then, having that structure and going into that final game.
And I think with finals, correct me if I'm wrong, I think the Firebirds have a tremendous record once you get to the finals. Have you ever lost one? Have the Firebirds ever lost a finals match of any sort?
Look, we haven't, because this is only the second time we've ever been in there, and then the first time was in 2011 where we won it, which was great. But, really surprising that this is only our second time in there, so I guess that means that our track record's
undefeated. We're happy to hang it. Let's not get caught up in the detail of it all, Jacinta. You're undefeated in finals.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah. It all goes on the line, as we said, at 12:15 on Sunday afternoon. We'll all be cheering here at SportsFeva. The Moreton Bay region will be right behind Queensland. Will be right behind the Firebirds. We wish yourself and the rest of the girls the best of luck, and hopefully we can talk to you next Thursday in the lead up to a grand final.
Sounds great. Thanks so much, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Jacinta.
Cheers.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.
Jacinta Mesa, one of the stars of the Queensland Firebirds. Rosalie Jenkins been keeping her up her sleeve the last couple. Hasn't had any court time the last couple of games. Look for her to unleash on Sunday.
Secret weapon, perhaps.
I think so.
Keeping her nice and fresh,
Bring
ready to go.
Smash some vixens.
They certainly haven't done it the easy way, they have, though, Matty. Losing that double... Not only did they lose that double chance, but sort of the worst possible outcome with the results and went their
Just
way.
everything, like we spoke to Jacinta before, everything that could have gone wrong that weekend went wrong for the Firebirds, that they ended up in the worst possible result they could have. So, but like we said, and spoke to Jacinta about, really gutsy to turn that around. And the and Jacinta did touch on it. The Thunderbirds on the weekend against Vixens, very cocky. We don't see it at all in netball, as she said. Basketball, we see it like they clear the bench and bring them on. They called the time out and cleared their whole bench. So, well, an injury timeout. So you don't actually have a proper timeout. It was an injury timeout. They said someone's got a sprained ankle and took the whole team off and put the whole bench on. That's cocky.
It's very, very cocky, but it'll be interesting to see. I mean, I'm sure we'll be having a Thunderbirds, Firebirds grand final here, but interesting to see how a week off and then doing that in the last quarter of that game will go for the Thunderbirds. It's not always the blessing that it seems having a week off leading into a grand final at all.
Don't bring that up, Swampy.
No, hey, look,
last year.
I didn't mention it. That came into your mind.
That's all I can think. It's very upsetting. I don't know if I'll ever get over that grand final.
I'm not sure you will.
I don't think I will, Swamp. Tough memories. It's 11-9 here on SportsFeva. Time for a song. A little bit of a spelling lesson there from Gwen Stefani. It is 5 minutes to 9. Time to quickly run through a couple more things in SportsFeva. Swampy, you're no good. You're not a well man. You're sneezing and you're spluttering.
I'm not. So Gwen Stefani had to cover for me there.
You've got a fever.
A sports fever?
A sports fever.
Sports fever?
Hey, the Ashes. Well, big news since we last time we were doing SportsFeva as a team. Mickey Arthur was coach of Australia,
and was looking like to be the Ashes or the Australian coach for about 10 Ashes tests coming up. But then all of a sudden, bang!
See you later, Mickey.
And look, I didn't entirely dislike Mickey Arthur, Matty. He did some wonderful things with South Africa, and I don't think all of this current turmoil that's in the Australian team lands on Mickey's shoulders. But you're not going to hear any protest from me by putting Buff Lehman in the job.
In Buff, we trust. No, look, Buff done amazing things. Right? Very similar circumstances, to be honest, to where he took over Queensland.
Absolutely. A team that probably doesn't have breakout stars in terms of talent. Michael Clark, of course, is one of the best batsmen in the world, but a team that's probably down on raw talent, look what he's been able to do with that with the Queensland team when he's got them all on the same page and all playing. So
I'll be honest, my Ashes interest level has gone through the roof. I was
how was it not through the roof beforehand?
Mickey Arthur, Dave Warner, not enough Queenslanders. Now Buff, I'm back interested. I've told you before, my interest in Australian cricket is dependent on the amount of Queensland influence in the team.
There you go. No, it's always a big event on my calendar, Matty, and I suppose the big question for Lehman is how quickly can he get everyone on the same page, and is it enough to win the Ashes this time around? Might it take a couple of tests?
I think we've gone from nil, no hope at all, to a big chance.
I couldn't agree with him. I wouldn't say we were at nil. We were slim.
We were none.
We were slim.
We were zero.
We were slim to nil.
No hope.
But we're an absolute chance, and very interesting to see the reaction from some of the tabloid press over there in the UK that said Australia had brought in a coach that liked nothing more than a bit of a cigarette and a few beers after a game. And one of the best retorts to that I read was from former England captain Michael Vaughan, who pretty much said, no, Darren Lehman is a man who knows what he's doing about cricket, and Australia are now a very big threat in the Ashes. So have a man like Vaughan to give this some big raps and say that Australia are now a definite threat is a big thing, and of course it looks to be paying off already. Rogers and Watson at the top of the order, delivering some very good stuff, and young Jackson Bird taking 4 wickets overnight in their last tour match against Worcester. So interesting to see how that middle order comes together. You'd think there are probably not too many certainties there now outside of Michael Clark. And interesting to see how the enigma that is David Warner fits into Darren Lehman's team. look, he's a. Everyone knows he's not a big fan of old D Warner. You wrote him off a couple of weeks ago, but under the guidance of someone like Darren Lehman, I think he can be a massive asset to Australia's Ashes chance if Darren Lehman's able to channel all that energy where it needs to be.
We'll see.
You're not a fan of.
I'm not giving the bloke a rap
Not
until
at
I
all.
see something. Boof could turn him around. I don't deny that, but yeah, I'll wait until he does, and then I'll happily apologise. We only got a minute to go. Quick little bit of NBA news. Of course, the Heat got the victory. Well done, Swamp. Some big trade news. If you're a Celtics fan, sorry guys, your team got blown up virtually. Your coach is
Goodbye,
gone.
Doc.
Your coach is gone, and you'd say two of your best at least players are going to the Nets.
They have, and probably some. I think you and a good friend of the show, Mike Whiting, have been doing a bit of bargaining behind the scenes here. Of course, yourself a Lakers man, and Mike Whiting a Warriors man. Some whispers of Andrew Bogut seeing a trade to the Lakers for big Dwight Howard. Very interesting.
Be interested to
times
see
there.
how that unfolds. Who knows with Dwight? He'll stretch it out, and he'll be linked with every team before he makes a decision.
I would think as a Lakers fan, you'd probably be happier to see Andrew Bogut come in than a Warriors fan would be to see Dwight Howard come in.
If they get Dwight right, Dwight is the best centre by a long way. But anyway, we'll wait and see. Swamp, you go home and have some Codral
Will
cold
do.
flu. Thanks for your effort today.
Always
Thanks
a
to
pleasure.
Jacinta Messer, and also thanks to Terry Kirkham for joining us on the show. Stand by now for the national news.